Ever since Digital Extremes reworked the Exterminate game mode in Warframe, I have had positive and negative reactions toward it, and now I feel it is time to get my reasons out there for why it was a poorly executed change. To start, I will talk about why it was changed in the first place. Due to several complaints over a large period of time about enemies not spawning enough, having to backtrack to get enemies that the map did not locate in time before you move to a new area, and problems with them feeling unusually spotty in how players progressed, they changed it to the new system we have now. Another issue was on infested missions, where enemies like brood mothers and boilers would continuously add new enemies to the total you would have to kill, unnecessarily making the missions last longer. Instead of having to kill every single enemy that spawns into the game, you simply have a total enemy count to work toward, and once that goal is reached, you can safely go to extraction, as enemies will often run toward it as well. In addition, a change was made so enemies in previous rooms that you left behind will automatically begin to run to extraction, keeping their alerted or unalerted state as they did so, in an attempt to force the player to get attacked as they neared extraction. The fact that the game often teleports enemies in front of the player already negated this need for them to run, and the game still teleports enemies, but this is a minor complaint I have. But onto the reasons why I think the Exterminate mission as it stands now is poorly executed, and why I am making this video about it. Lore and immersion. For most Corpus and Grineer missions, this kind of method is understandable as it keeps the flow with the level progress of the player or players, but you run into seriously immersive lore issues when it comes to the infested in particular. The infested are both the disease itself and the unfortunate victims of it, and spread their viral affliction through spores, as mentioned several times in the game. However, it's clear that the hosts of the spores are the best way to spread the disease. But because of the changes with Exterminate missions, infested will continue to spawn and attack you, even though the Lotus specifically tells you to quote clean it up and actually exterminate them all. Even in the Once Awake quest, which is what new players are supposed to play right after Vor's Prize to learn about the infested, the same issue applies in one of the missions. Despite you being tasked with stopping the infested in their tracks before they spread, you still are allowed to leave some to run around the area. Not only is this incredibly silly, but it makes no sense at all in the lore, as you surely would need to exterminate all the host forms in order to properly stop the spread. While this is the biggest issue I have with the new Exterminate game mode, it's not the only time this happens. Quite humorously, in the Vor's Prize quest itself, when obtaining the navigation segment, the Lotus tells you to kill, and I quote, all Grineer to provide justice for the colonists. Like out of a bad joke, the same Exterminate rules apply here, and once the enemy requirement is met, you are allowed to let the remaining Grineer roam free around the ship. There are good things to the new Exterminates, however, such as fixing the issues I first mentioned for the reasons they changed the game mode in the first place, and it helps players like me level up any weapon in a single Exterminate with an affinity booster, due to the continued spawns as I head to extraction. But because this game mode was universally applied to everything that was considered to be an Exterminate mission, it causes pretty silly immersion issues that I hope they will fix, and fix by simply changing some missions into actual Exterminates like before to keep it immersive.